This puzzle was composed by Enrico Paoli in 1959. He was a chess master from Italy. The specialty of this puzzle is he gave white an extra bishop. There are 2 pawns for 2 pawns, but there is this extra bishop which is placed in a very awkward position. We cannot go to c5 to defend this g1 escape square because this d4 pawn comes in between. We cannot go d6 to h2 to defend this g1 square. This king comes in between. This is the problem. So you have to find this. I will give you 2 main key points to concentrate all your calculation. First is you have to stop this pawn from promoting forward, and the second is if the pawn accidentally promotes, you have to capture it anyway. So you have to calculate all the variations in this direction only. I have removed all the garbage in your calculation, and now you can pause the video. I will give you 5 seconds. Do find the answer. You can see any of the king moves doesn't make any sense because now the pawn will just promote and you have no way to stop it. It will promote. So we see any of the king move is a garbage. So now we shift our total focus on these 2 pieces. The first is bishop and the second is pawn. If you look towards the pawn, if you play e3, that is also the losing move because after this d takes e3, you can see these 2 pawns are queening down there. This black bishop cannot stop any one of them. If we play bishop c5, they can just push this e2 pawn. Yes, they cover this g1 square, but now the problem is this e2 pawn is queening now. You cannot go bishop f2 because the g3 pawn is covering this f2 square. e3 move doesn't work. What if e4? If you see, they can just now take n pass, and this is the same position again, and there is no need to n pass. You can just go directly g2 and promote on the next square. So this was the problem with this move. Now we shift our total attention towards this bishop. There are mainly 3 moves. The first is bishop c1, bishop b2, and bishop to c5. Let us say bishop c1, we are threatening to go e3, take this pawn and cover this square, but it doesn't work because of this g2 instant pawn push. There is a lot of time to take this pawn, come on this e3 square and cover this g1 square. Now they can just promote. They doesn't care about this pawn because if you take, your bishop hangs. Why will they take when they have a queen on the next move? So this move is also a garbage. Now what about the move bishop b2? Yes, this move has a potential to do something. With this move, we attack this d4 pawn, and the next threat is by being on this d4 square, you are controlling this g1 queening square of black. So this is the major problem. You are attacking, so black has to defend with his king. He can either move to d5 or e5. If he goes on e5, that is a losing because once he steps into this e5 square, we have a chance to play this e3 move because now you can see this pawn is pinned to the king. He cannot take our e3 pawn, and after this pressure, they can just go for rushing to make the queen. Now we have this bishop check, and here is the key moment. Here we have learned to play this e4 move and control this g1 square, but black has a nice resource, king to d5. He's provoking us to play this e4 move, and once we play to control this g1 square, our bishop drops. So what do we play? We go bishop b6. This is the best move in this position and the only winning move if they play king e5. So now if they promote, we have a discovery on the king and the queen. Like this, the king has to move, and now the queen is gone. So they have to move their king somehow somewhere on any of the squares, and now we play e4 and we control this g1 square. So this was the problem with this king to e5 move. Now let us look king to d5. The move king d5 is winning for black, as we cannot give pressure on this d4 square. If you go c4 check, this king can just slide over e5, and now there is no resource. Now they are just going to push this pawn 2 squares forward and win the game. You cannot literally go on this a3 square to control this. You also cannot go for this d6 square to attack this, and that's losing for us. And let us say if you go this e3, again asking for a trade, they can just take, and there is no real trade, because now this bishop, even if he attacks this pawn can just go forward and win on the next move. There is no real attack. So the final move that remains is bishop to c5. Yes, this is the winning move, because any of the move, there are only 3 moves. The first is king d5, king e5, and g2 pawn push. If there is g2 pawn push, you can see this bishop can take this d4 pawn and control this g1 square. So first, after this attack, you have to defend this d4 pawn. Whatever the way it defends, it is going to lose. If they go on d5, we have a nice little resource, which is bishop b6. We go back. We are provoking black to play this g2 pawn push, and once he does it, we have a great e4 check. This check lures this black king to go on this poisoned e5 square, or to take this n pass this way. If they take n pass, you can see this bishop can take on e3 and control this g1 square. So this was the point behind this move. And once the king goes on this e5 poisoned square, you can see this bishop can slide over to c7 square, and the king is in check. So king has to move, and now this bishop can move to h2 square to control this g1 promoting square. This was the beauty of the puzzle. If let us say after this move, if king goes on e5, then there's this direct bishop b6 move threatening this check. Now they can just move their king, but again this happens. Anyway, we are reaching this position. They have to either go on this or this square. So let us say if they go there, we can just directly take this pawn and control this square. If they go there, again bishop c7 check, and this time we directly skewer this pawn like this. So this was in this video, guys. If you like this puzzle, please subscribe to our channel and like this video, because it had took a lot of hard work to find this puzzle.